Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Donald Clark. I'm one of the acupuncturists here at CMY Fertility, CMY Healing Arts. How is everybody? Um, let's see, it's been a couple weeks since I've checked in. It's been a fulfilling 2 weeks. I've done a lot of, been outside a lot, in the garden quite a bit, and up in the mountains quite a bit, spending time with the family. I hope everybody is well. Well, well, we've had a very rainy, very rainy, very wet summer season here in the Northeast, and I think we had 7 inches of rain, 8 inches of rain last week, and it's been rough. Anything that's in the ground um, that isn't perennial has been just pounded by water. So we've been getting pounded by water. I have raised beds in my garden, so we're doing okay. Some stuff is in the ground and is not doing so good. But we're persevering and we're hanging in there. So we went over some organ systems in the past and some other things, and my full intention was to have andrology here today, but they just can't seem to break free from their schedule, and that's fine. That's okay. I did talk to embryology, and they seem to have a little bit freer of a schedule. So we're going to try to get somebody from embryology in here and answer some of your questions. If there is a lag in the feed today, let me know. We've been having some problems with the connection, and it's causing some lags, and we don't want that. So we talked about liver organ systems and how to eat seasonally and in the spring, and we also talked about kidney systems, and I think we did. I hope we did. If we didn't, we will. And how to eat for the kidneys. And but today we're actually going to be talking a little bit about endometriosis, which is working in a fertility center. It's like the number one condition that we see and treat. It's quite common amongst every woman, it seems like. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about it real quick today, and just cover some stuff, some basic stuff that if you have endometriosis, I'm sure you're well aware of, and maybe I can give you a little pearl of wisdom that might, catapult you to the next level of self treatment. And for those that don't have endometriosis, maybe you'll learn a little something, and that'll be awesome too. So endometriosis is a condition that is brought upon by endometrial cells that escape the endometrial lining, and so endometrial cells are normally in the vaginal lining, and in endometriosis, those cells can escape, and they adhere to, or they join with the fallopian tubes or the ovaries, most common. And in the severe cases, it can go to the bowels or the colon or the rectum, and that's when it becomes very severe. And there's treatments for that, and we're going to talk today about Chinese medicine, obviously, but there's also some surgical treatments that you can do. And but we're going to talk about the stuff that you can do at home, and then the mostly super non-invasive stuff. Don't get me wrong, if you're having surgery for your endometriosis, then it is needed, right? They just don't do it because it's needed at that point. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and the organ systems involved in that. So one of the main components in endometriosis, or the main causes in endometriosis in Chinese medicine, is blood stagnation, right? So we talked about the liver, and we talked about how its main focus is regulating blood and moving blood. And when we have blood stagnation, it literally does stagnate, and it can coagulate or form some clotting stuff. And essentially that's kind of what endometriosis is. It's a stagnation of the blood. So one of the main treatment protocols in treating endometriosis is to move blood, and we do that very effectively with acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So there's a lot of acupuncture points. There's whole traditional treatment protocols geared towards endometriosis, and the main liver or the main organ um, system associated with that is the liver system. But you're also dealing with the spleen, which which also is a huge blood organ, as well as the kidneys. So in this whole process of treating endometriosis, we have to treat those organ systems as well. So the liver, the kidney, and the spleen. And so it's important if you have endometriosis or just even in your fertility journey to keep those organ systems healthy. And you can go back in our videos and you can look at the differences in how you keep those organ systems healthy. And that's the most important thing. I didn't know endometriosis was one of the most overlooked conditions for fertility, not only fertility but for gynecological problems. I didn't know usually takes a few office visits before they get a solid endometriosis diagnosis, which is really sad. But I guess it's very difficult to diagnose in regards to that. So, some of the symptoms of endometriosis are pain, right? Pelvic pain. Pain in Chinese medicine is stagnation. So obviously, right, you have pain in intercourse, painful menstruations, irregular menstruations, pelvic pain. So if you are having any kind of pain associated with menstruation or intercourse, or your periods are irregular, you should seriously look into the endometriosis diagnosis. And again, it might take a couple visits or one really proactive or attentive physician to 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 diagnosis. So don't let that, if you have pain with intercourse or pain in the pelvic area or irregular menstruation with pain, heavy bleeding, uh, definitely get it looked at. Don't let it go, because if untreated, it really can affect your fertility. Right, and we're all about keeping our fertility healthy and keeping our nest healthy and keeping ourselves as viable as possible. And so those are some of the symptoms of endometriosis. And when it comes to treating it, we would treat it a couple different ways. One with acupuncture, we would do a treatment protocol, and for endometriosis, that's not something like elbow pain. It's that's like I had an old doctor refer to it once as big locomotive going down the track, and you need to first slow it, and then you need to stop it, and then you need to back it up. So it takes a little while to treat conditions that are as deep as endometriosis, or menstrual irregularities, or hormonal irregularities for that matter. So we would put you on a program or a treatment protocol for that. That wouldn't be a 1, 2, 3 treatment protocol. That would be not extensive, but it wouldn't be a quick one either. You're looking at 10 treatments, 10, 15 treatments, depending on a lot of different circumstances. And we would work with you with that. And but we would also, we would try very hard to get you to follow some simple dietary recommendations that make the biggest impact on treating endometriosis. So what are those? Well, here at CMI Fertility, we're really, really, really interested in, and we're really, really big into keto diets. So keto diets are the number one way to decrease inflammation in your body, right? And I know there's some differences in meat consumption and endometriosis and keto diets and endometriosis, but everything's pointing to a keto diet is the best diet for endometriosis. Now, if you're a vegetarian or you've tried keto in the past and you just don't like it, there's other things you can do too, right? So the first thing that you should do is eliminate your gluten, right? Gluten is like nasty stuff. Is one, it's highly addictive, right? It turns right into sugar, and sugar's an inflammatory substance, anyways. But it's super, super addictive, and so get rid of your gluten, right? The gluten of your parents and the gluten of us today are totally different glutens, especially with GMO stuff. So get rid of your gluten, and try to choose some healthy foods, right? Some healthy foods, beets, right? Try to eat lots of greens, right? All those are going to help stimulate move blood in the liver, right? Lots of greens, spinaches, and kales, stuff of that nature, and try to get your fats in another way. Avocado, right? Avocado is so good, high fat. Nuts, right? So try to eat nuts. But the big thing, I swear, is all the stuff, all the really good stuff that we love. It's you want to try to avoid the sugars, the caffeines, the alcohol, um, and you want to try to avoid too much dairy as well. It's not the best thing for you. Oranges, I wrote a little cheat sheet. But it's also important that we take a multivitamin, right? So get your nutrients, your vitamins, and your minerals. A lot of people overlook minerals, and those are super, super important. And try not to take, I mean, severe endometriosis, causes can cause bowel obstructions, right? That's when it's really bad. But acupuncture is so good. Acupuncture is so good at preventing and controlling and diminishing the pain, right? So you don't want to take a lot of pain relievers, right? You don't want to take a lot of those because it puts more pressure on your liver, right? And we need our liver for our blood circulation. It puts more pressure on our kidneys, and we need those to harmonize our uterus, right? So try not to take too many pain relievers. Once in a while, that's perfect, but a daily consumption of pain relievers, and you've got problems. And so I do encourage you to reach out. And I do encourage you to contact your local acupuncturists or set up a consult with me here on Wednesdays, and I'd love to go over it with you. Um, Soy, try to stay away from too much soy. It's not the best thing for you. So endometriosis, it's very common, and it can happen in girls and it can happen in women. So you've got to catch it early. And sometimes you don't even know you have it. You don't even know you have it until you've done some other surgeries, and you might find it. So if your menstruation is irregular, your periods are irregular, that can be a red flag for you. So keep that in mind. And reach out to your acupuncturist, and try to eat well. Try to eat those greens and beets, and get your fats. And if you can go keto, please go keto. It's the best thing. It's the absolute 100% best thing um, for endometriosis. So I'm just going to quickly here today I'm still with patients, so I'm still back and forth, and I'm just trying to slip this in real quick. So I'll probably just kind of jet out here pretty soon. But I'm going to try to look at some questions real quick, and I hope I can answer them. And some I can answer, and some I can't, and we'll go there. So let's take a look here. Hello, everybody. Um, Sorry I'm late. It seems like that 2:30 time is it's tough to get to you guys, but it's so funny. It seems like 2:45 is when I roll in. Hello, everybody. So laparoscopy for endometriosis. There is some surgical techniques that benefit better than others. So there are some out there that will do it. Laparoscopy is one that they do work with, but there are other. For some reason, laser. There's a laser technique that may do it, but yes, lapro. pain, pain after surgery, but this was like 10 years ago. So, um, yeah, get it like that, right? It may come back. That is very possible, and sometimes you have to do it again, as sad as that may be. But you don't want pain, and I hope if you've had endometriosis for a while and you're dealing with it, I do hope that you're on the endometriosis diets. There's so many of them, but like I said, keto, and if you can't do keto, then try to eat accordingly if you can. And but we do what we can with with the time in our life that we have. So you know, try to do that. I do encourage it. And as far as whether or not um, we can be helped, and I gotta be honest with you, we can all be helped, right? There's never a situation where you're just a lost cause, all right? Because you can always decrease your discomfort. You can always decrease your discomfort in many different ways. So don't feel as if you're abandoned or a lost cause, because you're not. You have many people around you that will help you. So don't don't despair. So there was a question about stagnant blood and endometriosis, and whether it has been debunked as stagnant blood. When I always should put a disclaimer in at the beginning of every Facebook Live. When I am talking about different conditions and different organ systems, I'm talking about energetically. And so when I was talking about stagnating blood, I'm talking about um, it's kind of a carryover area, but I'm talking about mostly energetically speaking. So does blood stagnate? Yes, it does stagnate. Um, it's more energetic though. So keep that in mind when we go through that stuff. Yeah, stage three endometriosis is it's when it's traveled outside of the uterus and it adheres to different parts um, of the abdomen, usually in the lower colon, rectal area, and that's when it's bad. I mean, it's bad. Even stage one is bad enough, but when it really travels, then it really becomes bad. Um, Broccoli is wonderful. Everybody should eat broccoli. It's good for everything. Moderation, of course. I don't want you eating loads and loads of broccoli, and it's one of those vegetables that should be cooked and steamed. Small amounts, not a lot. I shouldn't say everyone should be eating loads of broccoli, but loads of people should be eating more broccoli. How does that sound? The question is in regards to acupuncture and how often should you do it for endometriosis. Every acupuncturist is a little different in their treatment protocols. I encourage people to come in once a week, and once a week is enough to carry on to the next week. Some acupuncturists want you to come in twice. Some acupuncturists want you to come in 3 times. I tended to step back a little bit and do it once a week. Now, it can range anywhere between 5, 10, 15, who knows, depending on what stage endometriosis you have. So it's going back. It's not one of those treatment protocols that are quick and easy. It's a little bit more involved, and it takes a little bit more time to make a bigger impact. And on top of it, you're going to be doing these diets that are going to help with the condition as well. Okay, you guys, I I shaved my head. I had to do it. I tried so hard to get haircuts, and nobody could see me, and it was so hot, and also, it's made me think of a few things about attachment and not being so attached to stuff, right? So we tend to wrap ourselves into our emotions, and that sometimes is not the best thing for us. So if we can practice detaching a little bit from emotions and possessions, I guess, our hair. I think that's good for the soul. I think it's good for everybody. Let's see. Just answer one more. And again, we're you're not alone. It's endometriosis. It's common, but it can get severe, and as we age, and you feel like there's a clock, right? The biological clock, and but there really is no clock here, right? So like we've kind of stopped time. I always tell people we've stopped time here, and we're able to maneuver through fertility, the fertility journey, without a clock ticking. So no biological clock ticking. So 41 endometriosis, you're still okay. It's You're still okay. So try not to despair. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go. I've got somebody waiting for me, and it was nice chatting with you. I'm sorry it's a little quicker today, and I am gonna get guests here. It has been a bit of a struggle. Everyone's very busy, which is awesome. Um, so I did talk to embryology, and they are more than willing. They would love to answer some of your questions. So have a great week, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you.